Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux here with the Tuesday race of the day, May 13th. We're going out to Assiniboia Downs as they're going to kick off their 2025 race meet on Tuesday. They have a 7-race program. We're going to look at the 7th, an allowance optional claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward. 5 furlongs is the distance on the dirt, and it's sort of a tale of two stories here in terms of the field of 7. You've either raced this year or you haven't, and a couple of those horses that have raced already in 2025, they have good races under their belt. That includes the 3 Sawasdi and the 7 Upstriker. And now, as we turn to the Timeform US pace projection, you see those horses in the mix. Now, the 4 Jeffafa and the 7 Upstriker, I agree that they were forward types. I just don't think they're going to get the lead in here. I think the lead is going to go to the 3 Sawasdi. I think he's just naturally quicker, a horse that's typically 45-1, 45-2, 45-3 to the half, and he's right there in the action. I think he's naturally quicker. So I think Sawasdi is the pace setter. I think the 4 Jeffafa as well as the 7 Upstriker are going to push the situation early. And do note that the LP flag is attached to the 5 Magic Tiger, who I think looking in terms of consistent closers, he is the one in this field. You know he's going to try to close from off of it. I know they tried something different last time out, going a mile and an eighth, but I think in sprint races, and based on what we've seen even around 2 turns, he's going to be rolling from off the pace. But let's dive right into it here with the number 1 Excel. And Excel has races under his belt now in 2025, but he hasn't hit the board in 3 of them. They've been out at Turf Paradise. I don't love those performances personally, just because I feel like he's been a couple lengths off of it and he hasn't had any late gain. He's just not making up ground really in those races. And I know he had issues with his lead-ins in one of the starts. He did stumble at the break 3 back, so let's forgive that effort. I think if you're trying to find the Excel version that you want to support, it's 4 and 5 back when he faced Coastal Jazz, 4 starts back when he won at the $25,000 claiming level. I thought it was a great race where he sat a good trip off quick fractions and was able to make a move and prevail by half a length. I think with him in this spot, if the pace is hot, which I think it's going to be very honest early, he can save ground from the inside and hopefully close late to pick up the pieces. So I would not count him out, at least for the exotics, at 8-1. The 2 Glava, I'll be honest, I know this horse raced well to kick off the 2024 season on the sprint distance. I'm not convinced he's a sprinter. He has had pretty good luck at these shorter distances at 5 furlongs, but those were early in his career. As of late, you can see he's a mile horse, sometimes 7 furlongs, sometimes a mile and a 16th, but he's a 2-turn horse, and I just frankly think that this is a spot to set him up for other races in 2025. So Glava, a little bit of pass for me. Let's take a wait and see approach and see where he comes next out of this race. The 3 Sawasdi, those last 2 races at Turf Paradise, he's gone really, really quick. And the one that I want to focus in on is the race 2 back on March 27th. Visually watching this race, he was just keen from the gate and pressing things and really working for it. I know he has a lead at the top of the stretch, and I know he's going to get passed by Departure and Happy Dancer. But I think the important thing is if you watch Departure pull alongside him and then pass him, he is still fighting. He's still trying to hold his own, and he was tired, and rightfully so. 21-4, 43-3 to the half. I can't blame him for being tired. It's also worth noting that's 6.5 furlongs. He's cutting back to 5/8, and I know he disappointed in his following start. Thought it was a tough spot. Another really fast race where you look for 5.5 furlongs. They went 5 furlongs and 56 flat. Just really tough to chase and then close in there. And I just think here now the 5-ace recipe with races under his belt this year is just going to be the perfect setup for him. So short price though at 9-5 on the morning line. The 4 Jeffafa, one of a few in here, for trainer Wendy Anderson. This is an interesting horse. They've had some options with him where they can race him from 5 furlongs to a mile, and he's still been competitive. I don't necessarily love that last year he was 0 for 9, but you look at his 2023 season, I think that's another reason that it's tough. He was 5 for 9 back in 2023, but he's been part of the pace in most of his races. Last time out, he did not make the lead early. He made it late and surrendered, but I think looking at his form, he was better earlier in the season and even mid-season, and then he sort of dropped off the map a little bit in those last 2. I think knowing that he can be forward, knowing that the 5 furlong distance should be good for him, he's a major player in here. Just don't know if I could use him on the top spot just based on that season last year. His stablemate is the 5 Magic Tiger, who we talked about, has the LP, the late pace flag attached to him, and a 6-time winner locally. He's actually 13 for 38 in his career. A really cool horse. Absolutely draw a line through his last race. You can see They sent him elsewhere for that stakes race. They sent him to Century, and he pressed the pace in a 1.125 race, 46 and change at the half. So, of course, he's going to back out right out of it. He was not well respected in there, 15-1. But looking at his races 3 back, he was able to win the Gold Cup at a 1.125 locally. And you go even further back, I think he's a 2-turn horse. That's my personal opinion. I know he can still race well off the layoff at sprint distances. He did that in his first 2 starts last season. He did it in a stakes race in the Free Press where he was able to rally to finish 4th, but he was favored in there, and then he kicked off his season with a good 3rd. So maybe if you're looking at him, you're trying to build some value into the bottom of your exotics, and maybe you're thinking that the pace is going to be that quick that he's able to pick up some pieces late. The 6th Brody Streak up next. This one racing for the first time since November, and was a 3-time winner in 2024 and started off strong, back-to-back wins, pressed the pace or was part of the pace in both of those races, and one of them had to really work for it in that return to the races, but then came back and won by nearly 4 lengths. And from there, as the waters got deeper and the distances got longer, the races just weren't as strong from him. But I did like his races 2 and 3 back. I like that he showed a little bit of a new dimension in the fact that when you saw him early in the season, they're like, we got to go. We got to go to the front. We're going to see if we can hold on. And he just seemed more comfortable, especially 2 back, rating off of it and making one run. Now, I am a little concerned about him just knowing that Jeff Fafa, you can see that name in bold in your past performances. He's beaten him 3, 4, and 5 starts. He's always finished in front of him. So I think he's still going to need to improve to beat not only Jeff Fafa, but some of the newcomers as well, Sawazdi. And then this horse on the outside, the 7 Upstriker, a new face to this local jurisdiction. He's never raced at Assiniboia, but you can see his most recent form this year in 2025 comes at Fauner Park. And I don't want to look at the last set race. It's a 1.70. I really want to focus on the race 2 back, where visually you can see he was sharp from the gate, but picking it up in the stretch, he's doing everything that he can. I think he's a pretty game horse. He draws clear in here by length. He does enough to get the win. Fire, not necessarily as eye-catching looking at some others that have popped the 70s and the 80s as of recent, but a 68 mentioned. I draw a line through the next race, but it's worth noting he stretches out to 1.70 and he finishes second, beaten by a length. Now 5 furlongs is going to be a different ball game for him. You can go down the page, you can see he's tried 5.5, but a vast majority of his races have been at 6 furlongs. And another consistent gelding in this field, but at 4-1, just going to maybe use him underneath. Take a little bit of a wait-and-see approach with the 7 Upstriker. But that is the field of 7 for the Tuesday race of the day. Don't forget, it's opening night at Assiniboia Downs. They will go all the way through October. And looking forward to covering the race of the day on Tuesdays from their track. Now, top pick time here for the race of the day. Get those free past performances on the DRF website. You look at the PPs, in my opinion, the 3 Sawazdi is a little bit of a standout. Has that fitness edge. I think that's sort of key 1. And the race 2 back is the next key. That was such a hard race on him, going 6.5. You saw how naturally fast he is. Combine that with his back class, the cut back to 5 furlongs. I think he's in the perfect situation in here to succeed. Now, I think his main menace is going to be the 4 Jeff Fafa, who we know is always going to be part of the action and try to press things. And maybe it can be a little bit of a thorn in the side to the 3 Sawazdi as they do draw alongside each other in the starting gate. The 1 Excel is my play here in the 3rd spot. Really intrigued, especially if this horse offers value. Knowing that the 3 and the 4, they're next to each other, they could hook up early. Excel's going to save ground on the inside, and if we can see a race similar to 4 back where the fractions were swift early on and he makes one run, I think he could be a major contender here in the exotics. And I already mentioned it, the 7 Upstriker. No disrespect to this gelding. He's already been off to a good start now in 2025. I just think at 4-1, found Excel more intriguing and just want to see how he's able to handle 5 Ace and try to decide if he's good at 5 Ace or if this is a stepping stone to something different in the future out in Winnipeg. But great way to kick off their card this Tuesday. As I mentioned, 7 races. Get involved and best of luck.